Alright, welcome to Speedo Cheese Racing. Got a little coffee going. It's Wednesday morning. Ooh, that's good. Folgers, or whatever it is. Whatever's on sale. I'm not a coffee connoisseur. I just like coffee. But it all tastes the same. Anyway, let me tell you what I've been working on. So, I took the road race RD400, the white one with the yellow frame, stuff you've seen on other videos. Took it to Heartland Park, to arm around at Heartland Park in Wichita, Kansas, and found out I didn't have enough carburetor. I was kind of, when I was at Willow Springs in May, I was thinking, I don't have enough carburetor, but that really proved. So I went full rich. I mean, absolutely as rich of jets and stuff that I could even put it in. And I finally got it running okay enough to race, and I ran the 2 rounds, but I spent all my practice time, and it was a new track to me, practice time trying to get the bike to run. So I went into the first race really as my first few rounds on the track, and it didn't go well. That's all right, we'll be prepared next time. So what I did, and then I came back and I did a track day at Miller's, and I ran my foul stroke track bike. And then the last couple of rounds I ran the RD400, and I ended up detonating the crap out of it and whatever, which was fine. We're going to Laguna Seca in a couple weeks. I needed to take it all apart anyway, so it was good, and I knew I was down on carburetor. So we went from 28 millimeter carbs, and they've got to be round slides because of the rules, to 36s. 36s might be too big, I don't know, but we're going to try them. The 36s that I'm running, I've run on the land speed bike in the past, and they're the one reliable, always great carburetor. So I'm trying to go back into a familiar territory. But I had to make a bunch of changes because, as you guys know, being weirdo 2-stroke gearheads, you can't just swap out carburetors. You got to put bigger reeds in. You got to put bigger ports in. You know, bigger pipes. You know, it's not that simple. So what I ended up doing is I went from the stock reeds to a Banshee reed, which took a little bit of work. I had to weld up the bottom of the intake and then remachine it all, but now I'm good. And then what I did is I machined all new transfers and exhaust. And what I used as a example, let's go with example on this one. So these are the cylinders that were on the land speed bike when I bought it, that were done by Ed Erlenbach and Tom Turner. So they ran that bike at 165 miles an hour at El Mirage. So they make good power. They use obviously a way bigger reed. This is a CR 125 reed, I think, maybe YZ 125. I'm not going that crazy, but what I did is I duplicated, as limited as these shitty ports are on these cylinders, I duplicated them as close as possible. And I did it in the CNC with the idea being, now listen to this genius idea and plan, is that I can duplicate this. I'm allowed 60 thou overbore on the cylinders for ARMA. These are at 50, so I'm getting close, but if I CNC port them, I can just get the next set of cylinders, drop them in the machine, and duplicate them pretty close. So if I can get that kind of sorted out, and then just have a process, I still have to go in and hand port this stuff just because it's the stock cylinders. And so I did that. They're all ready to go. They're not exact, but they're pretty close. Port timing is the same, and the port timing has always been the same. You know, when I did my first cylinders, I used those as an example and set the port timing with that. So all of my pipes are kind of along those same lines. has always been the same. And these cylinders, which were done 20 years ago, interestingly, they're pretty close to what, you know, Jan Thiel did at Aprilia. Same blowdown, same exhaust port opening, are pretty close. So meaning, I think that that's kind of been narrowed down to kind of the ideal timing. You know, there's really not a lot I think that we're going to be able to do with that. Who knows? What do I know? I'm an idiot two-stroke guy, but so I did the same. So I'm running a pipe I made for the land speed bike. Now, this pipe that was on this are very short, but they also ran, I think it ran to about 11.5, which I think is too high. That pressed together crank, it's okay to make passes at Bonneville or El Mirage for a long pulls, and I'm not kind to the bike when I'm road racing, so I'm lowering the RPM range, I think, with this pipe, maybe down to the 9,500 level. It's an awful big belly section, and I'm not sure it's going to work out. We'll find out today when I get this engine together and go out and run it. I really need to put it on the dyno, but I think I'm going to wait until winter when I've got more time, because I make a whole new cradle for the dyno and stuff. So I'm hoping that I can get this running and making decent power, and then I'll be happy. I was obviously down. There's a bunch of other RDs that I race amongst that are making way more power than I was with the stock engine. So if I can be a little bit more competitive power-wise, I'll be happy. But those guys have been refining for years and years, and I'm new to this. I'm new to the road racing side. Now I had to make mufflers. Laguna Seca, which is the next round, has got a decibel sensor on the track. Like every track, you know, they build it out in the middle of nowhere, and then people move in around and complain about it. It happens at every track. So, you know, I think Laguna Seca's caught in this, you know, tough situation where they're trying to make residents happy and whatever. I don't know the details. I'm sure some of you guys know it better than I do. I've been to that track watching MotoGP and World Superbike many times. Never been on the track, so I'm excited for this whole thing. You know, it's such a legendary, cool place. So anyway, and the exhausts, I just machined, you know, they're just tubes. I machined some end plates that I've got to weld in, some stainless plates that will replace the stinger, and the exhaust, and then I've got some baffling and some, you know, blah blah blah, and you know, I don't need to explain all this. Oh, I already got the snap ring groove. That one's not going to work, but anyway, you get the idea. End caps. I think I'm going to make some curved end caps. I've seen other bikes that curve them to the left, so the decibel meter is on the right side of the track. I don't know if that really works, but I'm going to try it. And the end caps, they do rotate, so I can dick around with that later. So we're going to put this together today, see how it runs, and I'll report back once it's done. That's it. So have a great day, work on your own killer projects, and that's it. Enjoy the summer.